So welcome to another weekly spark. This one might be jumping the gun a little bit because it's not fall yet. It is definitely still summer, but I was watering the plants and this really beautiful pothos leaf came off, and I had a little seedling in my front yard that's not supposed to be there. So I actually thought I would pull some leaves and do a couple things with them. This won't be a finished page, but this will be a couple different techniques that you can use to print or to do rubbings or to do some different things with actual leaves. I mean, first off, let's admit, the classic of doing a rubbing, just like you might have done in school, still works. I have the leaf so that it is vein side up. And if you have crayons that are peeled, that are older, then you could go ahead and just use the side of the crayon. But since these are still, pretty pristine crayons, I'm just trying to go at an angle so that I'm getting the larger surface. I could even try that in like 2 colors. Nah, not loving it in 2 colors. This crayon has issues. Seems like it's got glue and paper all over the tip of it. So yeah, a classic rubbing. I know that is pretty faint, pretty hard to see. Let me try just the same in something slightly darker. Not the whole leaf, just part of it. These could also be really nice if they were done on tissue or butcher paper. Tissue might rip, but the butcher paper should be fine. So yeah, classic Crayola crayons, so versatile for so many things. You can hit this with watercolors if you wanted to, and that would give it a whole different dimension. The wax will resist the watercolor paint. Okay, orange and green was a pretty bold choice because it was complementary, so that's got a lot going on. It might be more contrast, more visual pop than I wanted. So it's a nice background texture, even if you're not getting the leaves to read perfectly like leaves. It's kind of fun. While I've got the watercolors, let's try making an actual watercolor print of a leaf. If this works, it's going to be pretty pale and pretty ethereal. And there's definitely some extra water there. So that works. It's very, very, like I said, it's very faint. It's very ethereal. We've got a good outline of the leaf, not as much clear definition in the center, but watercolor is probably not what people think about when they think about printing with something, but it can be done. While we're talking about printing, and just cut out some acrylic. I think acrylic and a brayer is probably the most logical, easiest kind of first choice if you're thinking about printing something. I do have some old dictionary pages that I thought might be nice to print on. And again, I'm working on the side of the leaf that has the veins. See, that to me is perfect. Yes, it could have used a little more paint on the back part of the leaf, but I do like how there is some of, whoops, I do like how there is some of the text showing through. So you can get away with using each leaf a couple of times. They're not going to last forever. They're going to get soggy. So I'm pleased with that. Of course, if I wanted something more precise, use a leaf as a stencil. I've thinned this acrylic down with water, so I'm still getting some transparency and seeing some of the text through. And I'm just doing this really quickly. I'm not being extra careful with the edges. But I kind of like the contrast there of the texture of the leaf, of the solid color and the shape of the leaf. So I think there are some fun things there to play with. Another thing I like to print with, when you think of a leaf, right? Why can't it work like a stamp? Give it some good pressure. I'm not sure how much ink was actually on that leaf. Oh, see, that's pretty nice. If that didn't have the text showing through, we'd see a lot more of the leaf pattern. Yeah. So with that clear background, you get to see all of the details inside that leaf. It's a little speckly because this is a wet medium, but I like that. Really faint because my paint was drying up. It's hard to even see that on camera, but it's really like a ghost image. Now, I can use this leaf and work in reverse as well. So as I traced around the leaf to use it like a stencil, I can also stamp right around it. I'm more satisfied with doing picking up the texture of the leaf. I think that's the joy of actually printing with a leaf instead of just, cutting a leaf shape out of paper and using it like a stencil. That makes that one a lot more interesting. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas with maybe some late summer gardening that's happening, or maybe your thoughts are turning towards fall. But hopefully that gives you some ideas, sparks some ideas for you of ways that you can actually use real leaves in your art journal. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, that was pretty quick and pretty simple this week, but I hope that you enjoyed it. As always, subscribe, hit the like button, and look for me next week for another episode of Weekly Spark.